would need breast.
Oh, good.
If you want to be in the choir side.
But we should probably mention it about greeting and treats in here, in the announcements, and that's not in there. Right, if we remember to say it.
It's not a word cloud, it's a word flame.
That's right. Yeah.
Are you allergic to it? You're invited to lunch or not?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, right. Well, no, he's over there from digestive system. Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait a second.
You want to light the middle candle so that's ready? Or I can. Maybe I can. Are you sure?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think that was it.
It just got so bad. I had so many things, I just don't even want to go into it.
Trying to kick around.
But the idea was to use that candle to light the chalice and not the lighter. We keep forgetting to tell people
That's when I
that.
first started taking it, and then it was like, so he goes, well, I've got another one that has different side effects. When I see you this summer, I'm gonna say, enough of your, it's a disease, it caused, like, you know, what do you call it, GERD? It's a disease. It's a disease. And they don't. So the docs don't have take time. I mean, at one point before the acid reflux started having an effect, I said, how are you doing with that scar?
So they have this thing for over 3 years. Most people did it back in the fall.
You know, well, yeah, I mean, I got to the point where, I first it was like, another minute.
1 minute?
You know,
1 minute till showtime.
yeah, all right. I lost a little bit of that. I don't even know, it feels me.
Oh, did you?
So I
never
never
cared for that one, so I saw it was on.
It's really fun. My primary care profession, I went in January. She goes, if you don't want to take this stuff, and then I said, I'm still taking my blood pressure. And she goes, well, if you want to experiment for any of the weeks, I will stop taking how it affects your blood pressure.
Many.
I don't know how many. And she's young, you know, she's
Yeah.
the new generation. She was trained in Grenada.
No, thank you.
7:30. Yeah.
Please join us in our gathering song, number 123, Spirit of Life.
And we'll just give an intro here.
All the
Good morning. I see Brian over there and I got all giggly. It's so weird.
At least I'm not crying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm Kathy Grindeland and I use the pronouns she and her. I don't think I've ever said that before. Anyway, we want to welcome everybody, including our online guests. Let's see, we have an offering plate in the back. We also have a way to donate online. You can look at the website. And we have the change for charity jar over on the treat counter. We try to keep the service to an hour, but we sometimes go over, so if you need to go, don't worry about it. We won't hold you hostage. And we ask that after the sending insight, that you could be seated and give audience for the postlude before the invitation to food and fellowship after service. Thank you. Today is Vitality Sunday. More on that later. Next Sunday, Brian will be speaking about engagement and forward-thinking momentum. Let's see, the third Friday service in April is April 18th at 6:30 on Good Friday. It will be a rethought type of Tenebrae service. Tenebrae means shadows, but in UU style. This Tenebrae service will be a time of meditation, reflection, and melancholy, a somber time, acknowledging and making space for all who are dealing with grief, loss, anxiety, pain, and so forth. Should be about an hour-long quiet meditative service with moving music, simple liturgies, and intentional reflection and silence. We are still looking for volunteers to work on the security plan committee, and we will be electing a new treasurer for next year. See Kelly McCowan for further information. Any other announcements? Chuck?
2 weeks from today is the 13th, correct? I believe it is.
Yes.
Next week. It's next week. Yes. So next week at 2 o'clock, my a cappella group, Mixed Company, is doing a show Sunday afternoon at Parkway Theater in downtown Minneapolis. It's a cute little theater. And it's going to be, we have a couple of guest artists, including a cappella group from the Benilde St. Margaret High School. And yeah, it's going to be really good. So see me if you want further information and tickets. I'd like somebody to go with Kelly so that she'd have somebody to say. It would be 2 o'clock.
Brad. Oh, I'm sorry. John.
Hey folks, so first let's start with the naming process. The word cloud that Wesley helped us create, or actually he drove it, he made it. It's over here by the treat table, and there's a slide that could maybe go back up and at the end of the service maybe. But yeah, so we had some really great descriptors come in. So we've got the word cloud, and then suggestions for picking a name is also in here, so grab a packet later. Now moving to Climate Revival, the weekend of April 19th and 20th. The 19th is the Climate Revival Workshop at the Grindelands home, 8:30 to 12:30. The following Sunday, we're going to do a special Climate Revival service. We're inviting people to bring pictures of their pets and their favorite nature spaces and their children, and we're going to put them up over on the table. The idea is we're going to be worshiping for all those that we, are the reasons we're holding the environment dear is kind of the idea. So I think that's it. Thanks.
I just have two couple things. Wow, I haven't had enough coffee. One, don't forget that May the 3rd, Saturday, we're having our Spring Fling May Day big event at our farm, so everybody's welcome. It's going to be like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon until like 6-ish, weather permitting. And then also on May 4th, the next day, that is our sort of flower communion, is that what you all call it? Where we're doing a plant exchange. But also Hannah Berazanzi and her friend are going to be here to talk about the environment and some continuations of that. She's the young lady that always speaks, it seems, in the springtime, and now she's bringing a friend from the Isaac Walton League who is part African American and part Indigenous, and they're gonna have this conversation, so we're real excited about that.
And piggybacking on that, the Isaac Walton Lee Cuba Gallery next Sunday has a show just really installing this week. It's called The Roots, and it's Indigenous women's artwork. I had some postcards out here, but it's from 1 to 4, and I can bring more information next week. According to Chip thing.
Any other announcements? I do have, on the Sign Up Genius, we have the treat signups. We're all good until the last 2 services of the year, the 16th and the 18th. We need somebody to sign up for treats for those. We also need the greeters to sign up, but I sent you guys an email. And then I have added in the 3 summer services as well. So if people already know their travel plans and want to plan ahead, you can do that. That'd be awesome. Okay, anything else? Okay, so now I invite you to take a deep, slow, gentle breath. And as you exhale just as intentionally, try to separate yourself from the chaos all around us and join us in meditating on this musical prelude to our service. Please remain seated and join me in the opening words, responsive reading. Welcome, beloveds, welcome. We gathered together in community this morning with many hopes in our hearts.
The hope for inspiration, the hope for comfort, the hope for renewal, and the hope for vitality.
In this space and time, may inspiration water our hungry and thirsty souls.
And may comfort blossom in the gardens of our hearts and bring us sweet relief and visions for employing the fruits of our labors.
In this time and space, may renewal course through us as electric as a surge of energy, as serene as a nourishing meal, as contagious as joy.
And bring us vitality and rejuvenation.
May our time together honor all the hopes we hold within.
Therefore, in the spirit of vitality, we light this chalice together and say,
Kathy lights the chalice.
Something got missed. Anyway, May
the light we
now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal with love, to help with compassion, to bless with joy, to serve you, Spirit of freedom, in the fullness of community. Please rise as you are able and join us in our opening hymn, number 128. For all that is our lives.
Everybody pretty much knows this one.
All that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build a common good. Make our own days
I haven't played this in a long time.
for needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build a common good, and make our own days glad.
And now I have our beloved community. Oh, that's you, sorry.
It's okay,
We both start with a K.
right? Our beloved community moment. Dakota Unitarian Universalist Church offers its commitment to the following statements of affirmation for the LGBTQIA plus community. We honor the lives of all people and equally affirm displays of caring and affection without regard for sexual orientation. We celebrate diversity by using inclusive language and content in worship. We incorporate an understanding of the experience of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer persons throughout all of our programs, including religious education. We affirm and celebrate lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer issues and history. We affirm marriage equality and conduct weddings for those of any combination of genders, gender identities, and orientations. We advocate for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people, promoting justice, freedom, and equality in the larger society. We speak out when the rights and dignity of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people are at stake. We recognize that there's always something more to learn and remain open to deepening our understanding about the lives of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, asexual, and queer people.
Now we'll hear from the choir.
Right. Can I take this off? This.
I'm just gonna give your starting notes so you can get that. Okay, so, we ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
midst of pain, I choose love. In the midst of pain, sorrow falling down like rain, I await the sun again. I choose love.
I choose love. In the midst of war, I choose peace. In the midst of war, I choose peace. In the midst of war, hate and anger keeping score, I will seek the good once more. I choose peace. I choose peace. When my world falls down, I will rise. When my world falls down, I will rise. When my world falls down, explanations can't be found. I will climb to holy ground. I will rise. I will rise. In the midst of pain, I choose love. In the midst of pain, I choose love. In the midst of pain, sorrow falling down like rain, I await the sun again. I choose love. I choose love.
Okay, this is the time for joys and concerns. We can share personal events, and we will have a unison response at the end. If anyone online has a joy or concern, please chime in, and I will light a candle for you. And then I will light a final candle when we're all done.
It's a race.
Dance.
Who gets to light the first one?
Well, last week my sister came and visited, and we had a wonderful, wonderful time. And yesterday, actually I didn't have to convince him. My husband volunteered to go with me to the demonstration, and that was incredible. And that song was just beautiful. Song that you guys just sang.
So we were gone last week because we went down to southeast Kansas for my nephew's celebration of life, who passed away a couple of months ago, and it was nice to see family and to be reminded that small town, rural folks, conservative largely, are just people and nice people. And we went down and found spring, and we're working on bringing it up here. So it was nice to see flowering trees and green grass and stuff like that.
Annabelle's really excited. You gonna say why? Why? You wanna go up here? Say that.
We have a trampoline.
We got a trampoline for free off of Facebook Marketplace.
Oh my gosh.
We spent probably 3 hours on it yesterday.
Yeah.
How do your legs feel? Are you tired?
Today, but we'll see.
They're good, okay.
Teach tumbling, huh?
It does have a full safety net.
It's tethered to not ask.
It's a full net, everything's accounted for. And it's strapped to the ground.
Barbara.
Doesn't what I like, does it?
Yeah, maybe go on this other side.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
Let's see.
Just doesn't look.
Okay, we're going into the wax.
Now she's setting a fire.
That was hard. So, my younger son, who's 46, broke his ankle falling on the ice. And that was some time ago. And he was in so much pain. He did DoorDash and he did a stop and drop. And on the way back to the car, it was a very cold night and he slipped, he fell on some ice. Ice falls are the worst, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it was so painful for him, that I actually got sick.
Oh, no.
Absorbing all this pain. Anyway, but, so now it's, so he's had his first, PT appointment, that they failed to, put in place at the beginning, but anyway, he had it now. And, so he lives in a townhouse and there's two flights of stairs. So he goes up and down on his butt. And now he's working on going up and down 5 steps with the rail and his crutch. So he hadn't been doing that before. And anyway, it's been a long process and very painful for him. So yeah, so I wish it was funny, but it's not. So okay.
Today would have been my grandfather's 115th birthday. So, and my uncle, his son, will have a birthday on Tuesday. So that's for them.
I just have 2 things to share, a joy and a concern. First of all, we have a baby goose at my house, and it's just adorable. If anybody's on Facebook, you'll see me talking to it like it's a human being. But anyways, and then not yet because we don't know what their gender is yet or what they identify as, so we'll see. But the concern is we had a grant with the USDA for some of our programs. Actually, we had 3, and they all got canceled because they all fell under the DEI. So we're trying to figure out how to regroup and do the things that we need to do as a result of the loss of those grants.
So does the goose DEI?
I don't know.
Anyone online? I want to light one about the protest yesterday. They were expecting, I heard from our niece who has a friend who works at the Capitol, they were expecting about 15,000, and there were 25,000, so that was awesome. And we had our car was full, and we had a couple of protest virgins, Linda and Jim's sister, and I think that we are continuing our reputation as a good trouble congregation, because we had a lot of people there from this congregation, so that was awesome. I will light one more candle for all those joys and concerns that remain unspoken. May we know that whatever befalls us in life, we are held in the loving embrace of this community. And we say together,
We hold you in our hearts.
You want to introduce?
Sure. And take it away, Kelly.
All right. So if you don't know,
Yet today is Vitality Sunday, and Vitality Sunday is where we traditionally do a rah-rah to get prepared for the annual meeting. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. But I'm really happy to have you here today. And so we decided that we would entitle this presentation, "What Does Vitality Look Like?" And I think that the song that we just sang, "I Choose Love," is a great segue for this talk. With this song, also our motto, "The more the love, the better," Brian's blog title called "In the End, Love Will Save the World." One of my favorite hymns is "Love Will Guide Us." And now with the new UUA Shared Values flower that states, "Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love." We have many reminders of why we are a part of this community: to do the work of living our shared values, to address the challenges we encounter with love. I was recently reading an article by Kieran O'Brien, who is a director of an organization called Mini Story in Wales. And he said, "Some of the greatest challenges we face today, including climate change, social inequality, pollution of land, sea, and air, racism, extreme poverty, all share a common source. Each of these global challenges should not be viewed as discrete problems needing to be solved, but rather as symptoms of a breakdown in our relationships with each other, the natural world, and even within ourselves." That sounds to me like a breakdown of love, doesn't it? So this is Vitality Sunday, where we discuss what it takes to make and keep DUUC strong, active, and energetic. We also consider what each member's involvement might look like. How much of your time, talent, and treasure are you willing and able to share? How do we want to be seen and known in our community? The Star Tribune article about us in 2011 called us a small church with a big faith. I think that is still true. We are small and we can't do everything we'd like to do, but we can do something. I believe that one of the things we do best at DUUC is channel our fears and anxiety into opportunities to build connections, share love, and serve others. Whether it's our Change for Change, our collecting food and making scarves and hats for the food pantry, dialoguing with others from other faith traditions, sponsoring Ukrainian families, standing up for democratic values, or providing support to our members who are struggling with health issues, we strive to use our talents and focus our energy in positive ways. As many of you know, I grew up in a very conservative and religious home. For many years, I tried very hard to fit in to that church. I worked very hard to follow all the rules so that I would not only be loved and accepted by my family, but also by my God. I also tried to fit in with my peers. In 8th grade, I started experimenting with drugs, sex, and rock and roll, as they say, with my friends. In the summer before 10th grade, my best friend moved away, and after she left, I started to realize that the path we had been on was not the path I wanted to follow anymore. Somehow I just couldn't pretend to be something or someone that I wasn't. I lost some friends, but realized that they weren't true friends to begin with. My true friends didn't care what label I went by. I actually ended up expanding my network of friends, no longer just hanging out with the burnouts, but sometimes hanging out with the jocks, and even some nerds, and even some artists and theater people, and all kinds of wonderful people. I started learning things about things that I was really interested in, not things that were just seen as cool. I became a vegetarian and I started working in a food co-op. After my junior year of high school, I became an exchange student and I lived in Brazil. Wow, all the things I had been taught about others didn't seem to hold true at all. Even when people lived differently, it wasn't bad or wrong, and that was a revelation to me. This week I listened to a lot of Cory Booker's talk, not all 25 hours, but he kept saying that it's not left or right, it's right or wrong, and that was really powerful for me. So after Chuck and I were married and had a son, we started to feel that some type of community support would be helpful. But we were both wary of having to try to fit into a mainstream church. I wanted to live my values every day of the week, not just on Sundays, but I hadn't found any models to fit that showed me how to do that yet. In 1988, we found Dakota UU Church. Soon we felt we belonged. We were part of something larger than ourselves, and we didn't have to pretend to be perfect or have all the answers. At DUUC, I believe we try to nurture love and cultivate connections. We strive to offer trust, respect, kindness, and affection, not only to our members and guests, but also to everything and everyone in the world. Clearly, we don't always get it right. We make mistakes. When we see something happening in the world that we can't control, we get anxious. This escalating sense of losing control and uncertainty can spiral us into a sense of helplessness and panic. And Elizabeth Gilbert reminds us, you are afraid of surrender because you don't want to lose control, but you never had control. All you had was anxiety, which is a vicious cycle. We can't control what's happening out there. We can only control our response to it. Let's choose love, and let's stay in community to support each other. And remember, we're not trying to be perfect. We think that if we are perfect, we can minimize or avoid the pain of blame, judgment, and shame. But that's perfectionism, and perfectionism at its core is about trying to earn approval and acceptance. It's used as a shield, but it's a 20-ton shield that we lug around, mistakenly think it will protect us. No, we're not trying to be perfect. We're striving to be authentic, to be real, and to be compassionate. As Brené Brown describes, authenticity is the daily practice of letting go of who we think we're supposed to be and embracing who we are. Choosing authenticity means cultivating the courage to be imperfect, to set boundaries, and to allow ourselves to be vulnerable. Exercising the compassion that comes from knowing that we are all made of strength and struggle. And nurturing the connection and sense of belonging that can only happen when we believe that we are enough. Authenticity demands wholehearted living and loving, even when it's hard, even when we're wrestling with the shame and fear of not being good enough, and especially when the joy is so intense that we're afraid to let ourselves feel it. Mindfully practicing authenticity during our most soul-searching struggles is how we invite grace, joy, and gratitude into our lives. The feeling of not being good enough was something I had to continually wrestle with, especially as I started to take on more responsibilities at church. The first time I served as president of the congregation, I was in my 30s. Only 3 people had been president before me. All 3 of them left the church for various reasons right after serving as president. And I not only worried that I wasn't up to the job, but also worried that I might have a nervous breakdown or get a divorce like they did. So I was a lot nervous. Fortunately, I was able to chart a new course, knock on wood. Even though I've never done this job perfectly, I have learned a lot by doing the job, and it gives me the opportunity to support this faith community, which makes us both stronger and more vital. Our fear of not doing something perfectly or not doing everything to everyone takes us down a destructive path. If we want to grow spiritually, to live our values, to walk the walk, not just talk the talk, we must be willing to share our time, talent, and treasure with this community, to keep it vital, to challenge ourselves, and to grow in this faith. We need you. The world needs the message we have to share, to choose love. Watching the news or being on social media these days can cause more feelings of hopelessness and discouragement. We don't think that we can do anything to make it better, but we can't give up. I recently read another quote that reminds us it is far too late and things are far too bad for pessimism. That was DUUC, the founder of Visa. One thing that has helped me during hard times is working with and being with children. Their innocent view of the world is a joy to be around. They have absolutely no qualms in believing that a just and peaceful world is possible, nor do they have trouble with universal concepts such as global solidarity, where we view everyone as our sisters and brothers. They absolutely believe in values such as fairness and equality. But even though we call ourselves universalists, we often struggle with universalist values such as a world at peace, unity with nature, and equality, and say they're not realistic and unachievable in the real world. We tend to view ourselves as separate and independent of each other, despite the evidence to the contrary. And I don't see ourselves as part of one, and we don't see ourselves as part of one global family. The Kieran O'Brien article I quoted before calls these intrinsic values, and if we focus more on extrinsic values like power, wealth, or social recognition, the intrinsic values are suppressed. This is called the seesaw effect. So what is the answer to all this? How can we help each other lead more meaningful and purposeful lives? Not based on the false promises of marketing messages. How do we navigate this highly complex world where the foundational and universal values are constantly being undermined? How can we awaken these very values that we need to help create a safer and more sustainable world where we work together to tackle poverty, injustice, racism, climate change, and environmental degradation? I believe we must come together in a community that will help us rebalance these priorities of universal values over extrinsic ones through our spiritual practices, and DUUC can help us do that. I'm not saying it will be easy, but it is needed now more than ever, and I have to try. And I hope you do too. And as we say each week, whatever befalls us in life, we are held in the loving embrace of this community. When we make mistakes, we don't think it means we are inadequate. It simply means we still have a lesson to learn. Remember the rainbow path. Yearn to learn and grow a little each day. Struggling against difficulty enables us to develop ourselves greatly. We can call forth and manifest these abilities lying dormant within us. Difficulty can be a source of dynamic growth and positive progress. And DUUC is a place where we can walk together in this learning journey. I truly hope that you feel that you belong to DUUC. May it be so. So we're going to have some time for discussion, but before we do that, because the Vitality Sunday is designed to prepare us for the annual meeting, we're going to be I'm going to be asking you why you come here and get your thoughts. But I'd like to share with you a little bit of a preview of the annual meeting. It's going to be in 3 weeks on April 27th, and we'll be voting on the slate of officers for next year. We'll be voting on the annual budget, and we'll be voting on the name change, or that's our goal. There might be some other things too. And in order to have an election, we need a quorum. And at minimum, according to the bylaws, the quorum needs, we'll need to have at least 12 members. I don't think that's going to be hard, but the council was talking a little bit, and we thought that if we are going to do the name change, we want to have the 2/3 of the membership here instead of 1/3, which would be 24 people instead of 12. Because the annual meeting says the quorum is 1/3 for the regular election, but any special election, any big one like selling the building and things, that takes 2/3 of the membership, which means we need 24 people here, 24 members here. And you have to have been a member for 6 months or more to be able to vote according to the bylaws. Anyway, just wanted to share that. Okay, and then we also have some pledging information that we're going to share with you. Jim's going to share with you in just a minute, because the pledging is helping us to make a reasonable budget for next year. So we'll be doing that. So, I'm just going to take any comments or questions or. Yes.
So when you say you want 24 people, does that include online?
Yes, it can be online. Yes.
Can you vote by proxy?
I think there is something in the bylaws about that. We'll have to.
You might want to email proxies out just in case.
Yes.
Make sure you hit your 24.
That's a good idea.
So just a point of procedure, let me know if you want to talk. I'll give you the microphone so the folks online can also hear.
Good point. Thank you.
Talk straight into the mic.
And,
Pretty much.
and you need to talk straight into the mic.
Not leave it around.
Okay.
Talking to the people here. Wow.
So let's go back to the presentation I gave earlier. Is there any comments or questions? And then we will also come back to any other specific questions about the annual meeting.
Well, thanks for the presentation. That was very powerful.
Oh, good. Thank you. Quiet, folks. That's all right. Anybody online have anything they'd like to share? We have a big group here. I didn't see that before.
Okay, I got a comment. So I agree with all the values and goals and community ideas and stuff like that. One point I want to make with the impending possibility of name change is that what you describe is who we are trying to be, at least, and whatever name we go by, it's the same. We are the same, we have the same goals and the same vitality and personality that we have already.
Yeah,
So,
right.
all right, that's what.
No one was ever hurt when this congregation came up with the name Dakota UU. That's my opinion on it. I don't think it's offensive. You could say that it honors Native Americans. So I don't know where the impetus came from to change the name, but
Right.
I don't feel like we're correcting a wrong by changing the name.
Right. And there's other people that feel that way too. We just want to make sure. So we are in the process of talking with some Indigenous elders, just to make sure, because we don't want to just, from our point of view, we want to make sure that it's from their point of view that that's how they feel as well. And so the possibility could happen if the elders that we talk with do say the same thing, affirm that viewpoint, then when we get to the name change, then Dakota UU Church could be one of the things that we'll vote on to not change it, if that makes sense. But if we get to the elders and they say, no, that is offensive, we don't want you to be using that name, then we will go to the others, if that makes sense.
That's good to know. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah.
About the name change, I am hoping that at the 27th, all the names that are proposed are going to have a chance for people to get up and say why they want that name.
We can do that.
Okay, because, I do think it needs discussion, not just a vote.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then also think about the name change, not only for the use of Dakota and making sure that that's agreeable with people. We can also look at the name change as this is the location, and so we want to be tied to our location, Dakota County, and is there a name that better provides what we are? So those are also things to think about in a name choice. It's not, so it's not only the use of the word Dakota, we can also look at it as a way of changing that outward identity that means something more to the greater people of the area. A lot of people, I think Brian brought up at one point, oh, Dakota, I don't live in Dakota. I don't want to drive that far. And we're only 5 miles or, a couple miles from different counties. So
right.
That's another thing to look at.
Right.
You could call us Scott County. That's all right.
Just as a point to just say that next week when I'm speaking about future visioning, that's just code for we're going to talk about the name change next week, and I'm going to invite people to offer those things and the reasons. But I think it's important to reiterate that what we will be talking about is that it's only a third of the reason why we were looking at it as far as the name of an indigenous group of people. There are those other 2 reasons Jim just mentioned, that most churches that are growing and proliferating have chosen to change their name to something that better represents who they are, and also because it's not location bound because of online ministry. Most churches that are proliferating right now get most of their funding and support from online ministries, but if it's tied to a location, that can really kind of put some people off from finding that ministry. So that's just something to think about. And this is Vitality Sunday, so it's important to understand that we're going to have opportunities to talk about that next week. And today we're talking about how we can become more and more vital.
So again, I would just remind people that, here's our word cloud. There's also procedures outlined, so it would help you understand what we've been saying before about how we are talking to the tribal leaders and stuff. So just really want to encourage people to take one of these documents.
Thanks, Don. I also had a question from a member asking why the rush. It feels like we're speeding through, and we kind of are, because we want, if we're going to set up our website, if we're going to do a lot of social media and stuff, we don't want to start all that and then have to switch everything. So we need to figure out what it is we're going to be called before we get everything built. So.
And there's a lot. Jim kind of did a brain dump of all the things we'd have to do logistically to change.
And it's a lot.
Name. There's a lot of stuff.
So it would be.
It's not. I mean, if it's morally better to change it, then we're okay with doing all that stuff. But it's one.
But it's a lot to keep in mind.
Yeah.
And to take care of before the next church year, and that's why we're kind of trying to speed it along. All right, I think this is a good place for Jim to come up and take some time.
I'll go close to that mic, and it's usually pretty good. I'll just turn it a little so it's better here, and I'll talk loud, which I often get told I do a lot at home. But when I want to make a point, I do get loud or louder. So, as Kelly had said, we are, the whole purpose for the pledging really finally focused on that over the years of just handing out forms. It's like the real purpose for me or for what we're doing is to collect this amount of money or understand what the potential of money that we'll be receiving the following year. So that is to help plan our budget. So my first line in the budget is pledge income. And so I need to balance that against our expenses that we have planned. Our expenses are getting more as we start having Brian, we have music, production services. Those are adding into our expenses, and we'll get into that on the annual meeting when we review the budget. But just a little history as far as like the pledges. Back in 22, I collected 33% of our members, or 36% of our members returned pledges. In 23, we had 43%, and last year we had 42. So, let's at least break over the 50% mark.
There you go.
Of people returning stuff, or even 75% would really be nice, because it gives a little more concrete. Because I do put in a line for non-pledged, and it's a guess. And from last year, we've been hovering around low 20 members, and we gained over 10 people last year, over 50% gain. And so that guess is a little more cloudy for me now, so to know what new members will be contributing. At the end of March, just kind of where we are through our pledge year. So I always look at our 40 weeks, so that's the 3 summers and then the 37 Sundays that we meet. So that I just put in as like, okay, at the end of March, we were 80% through that, and at that point, we've collected 68% of the pledged amount, but then when I add in non-pledged, we're closer to, or we're at 93%. So we're tracking behind our 83% or whatever where we are in the year, but overall we're actually doing pretty well. Last year we finished at 86% of the pledged amount for the year, but overall we were at 134%, but remember that also included 10 new members contributing to that over percentage. So as far as like tracking pledges, there is the other reason, is that I do track to get those numbers. But for you, if you want to know where you are at, I need to know a number where you want to be. So this last week, you received an email from me with the 2 forms that we'll talk about in a minute, and then just a summary versus an actual pledge statement. Are people okay with just that summary of here's what you pledged, here's where you're at, and here's what's remaining?
Yeah.
Okay, because that eases up the statement. I will still give out at the end of each calendar year in January your donation summary for tax purposes. And then if you do want track and you're doing cash,
you can put them in an envelope.
That's usually here, or bring it in an envelope with your name on it. If you're doing it by check or other stuff, we can track by that. And then it's just another question was just emailing statements. If anybody wants a printed copy, I can do that. So on the back, I have 2 information. So last year, or not the not last year. We've never had a forum just for new members, and so Kathy is, for membership, had asked me to put something together, because I don't like to, in the new member packet, actually give a pledge form and have them put in something as a new member. So in there, this is now just kind of more of a summary of what pledging is, why we do it, purposes. And so I do have a copy for a few copies of that, but everybody received it in the email. If you want a hard copy, there's a couple there. And then I do have copies in the back for the pledge form, which just need name and amount, and then whether how you'd like to receive statements or whatever by email or by in person. Or I can, if I don't see you, I'll send it via regular mail. So, any questions?
How many pledging members do we have right now? Or do you know off the top
So,
of your head?
we currently have 37 members on the books. However, 3 really haven't been active. So I'm basing our coming budget year at 34, because I'm not sure those 3 will stay on there.
I kind of asked this in an email a few months ago, but what is the council's position on including investment income in the budget?
So what's hard with adding an actual line that says gains and losses due to income is if you can give me the magic number of how much money we're going to make on income or in the last week lost
The
on
interest.
investments.
But I mean, the church has interest income of around $1,000 a month. Is that something you want to put in the budget, or do you want to pretend that's not there?
I tend to pretend that's not there, and it helps soften the end of the, if we have it.
For a small congregation like this, that would be a significant change. And I had sent an email a couple months ago to the council, just drawing their attention to that.
Yeah.
Pretending that $12,000 a year isn't there doesn't
It's
make
not 12,000 a year.
doesn't make sense to me.
CDs were? Okay. I have a graph to help show that, because I do at the annual meeting always show our investment, how that's growing. So I've been showing how that investment has gone up, and that for the most part, our income over expenses is always, we've always brought in more money than the expenses. Plus we have earnings. I think at the annual meeting, we'll talk a little more about what we're doing with the investments.
Right.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. So, if it wasn't quite clear, I think it was, but just to reiterate, so we need the pledge information in the next week or 2, if possible, and you can either send Jim an email, you can fill out the form there that is hard copy, or you can print the hard copy,
Or have a piece of paper you can
or
take
just
and write it on that.
tell them, right? It doesn't need to be a big deal, and where nobody's going to come after you if it turns out you couldn't end up giving that much this next year. If you do know, it would help to tell us, but that's okay, or tell him. Nobody else knows.
It's an estimation of how much,
Yes.
not a promise.
Exactly. And nobody else knows. Jim knows. He's the only one that knows what each individual person has pledged. So, yes.
Are we gonna sing the last hymn?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay. All right. Please rise as you are able and join us in hymn
301.
301. Thank you.
All right, I'll give you an intro.
Reach the sky, walk on shores while Spirit answers show, and by our love they learn and grow. Touch the earth, reach the sky, all are born and all shall die. Life's the time left in between, to follow a star, to build a dream. Touch the earth, reach the sky, hug the laughter, feel the cry. May we see where we can give, for this is what it means to live. Touch the earth, reach the sky, soar with courage ever high. Spirits joining as we fly, to touch the earth, to reach the sky.
And our sending insight is by Mother Teresa. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put into the doing. A lifelong sharing of love with others.
And we'll sing Sending You Light, the 4 verses, so I'll give you an intro.
We're sending you light, to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light, to hold you in love. We are sending you light, to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light, to hold you in love. We're sending you light, to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light, to hold you in love. We are sending you light, to heal you, to hold you. We are sending you light, to hold you in love.
Postlude, sorry.
Oh, that was, no, I'm not playing a post.
Oh, that was
was
postlude. Okay, now time for treats. Treats.
Sorry to throw you off.
No, it's just you. It was me. Invitation to fellowship.
I apologize, my phone was over my chair and
Hi,
I heard it
Lou.
vibrating a few times.
How did we do?
Get up and call me. You didn't hear it?
I almost at the end of the
I could hear it all there, but I didn't. Okay, I almost got it.
What have you got? I have one of those too. I love the way she folded them. There we go. And that.
You're invited.
Yeah, we get invited for Oh, nice.
I took it apart and read it and I put it back together. Nice job, by the way. Good job, by the way. Good job.
Still trying to pin down. We're doing Leanne's birthday. It might be going to So then I yeah. Get them. Make a commitment. Right in the they have birthday party. Everybody goes and but I said, no, we have to do something on her birthday. So they were nice to me last year. Too many things. Hey, nice job.
Who's this?
Blah, blah, blah. Why does it say blah, blah?
Somehow I got an extra folder.
I like that it's sparkly. Ooh, I didn't see this stuff. That's cute. Cute. Like treats. Yes, it's lovely.
Doesn't matter.
Covers anything, any fluff credit. He's not gonna go to no
Okay, so that goes in first. And I'll bring
I didn't know if that goes in there or if it was donated. Okay.
You want to carry this together? Or do you want to carry it over the top? Okay. So, let's see. Yeah, that just goes right in front. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Oh, up and down, yeah.